What are your plans for Social Security? Many young people are getting it taken out of their checks
Yes.
right now. At the same time, they're being told that it's probably not going to be there when they need it.
Well, I think that they're being told that it's not going to be there when they need it because we're out of money in that system. So that's a hard fact and a hard reality that I think we should be honest with young people about. It doesn't have to stay that way, though. So one of the mistakes that we made back when we did have a Social Security surplus was that we failed to invest it in the same way our financial advisors would tell us to invest it if it was in our own bank account, our own investment account, in a diversified portfolio of stocks and bonds. If we had done that 20 years ago when I was first in college or entering the workforce, we would have a massive Social Security surplus today, and we don't. So that's the first thing, is we got to learn from the mistakes of the past. The next time we have a surplus, and I think we're going to get back there through economic growth, we have to not repeat those same mistakes of the past. Now, how do we get back to that surplus? My view is here's how we find our way out of the national debt problem we have. $33 trillion deficit, debt problem with the deficit adding to it every year. Republicans will say, many of them, cut Social Security and Medicare in some way. Democrats will say raise taxes. There's a third and better way. I want to bring zero-based budgeting to the entire federal government. The problem right now, you even see it in Congress today, is they use last year's budget and then say, hey, what do we change? Well, the problem is last year's budget has a lot in it that was wrong, and that was based on the prior year's budget. I think it will take a CEO in the White House. I've been a CEO. This is how I've run my businesses. This is how many successful CEOs run their businesses. You don't just take last year's budget and roll it forward. We start with zero as the baseline and then ask what's actually necessary. I think we should implement a 75% headcount reduction in the number of federal bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. I don't think we need a federal Department of Education that spends $80 billion of our taxpayer money when education is really driven by people at the local level, as it should be. So when you look at where I'm focused, squeezing that juice out of the unconstitutional administrative state, those regulatory agencies, that sprawling federal bureaucracy, that's how we bring down the national debt. That's also how we grow the economy. A lot of those regulations are holding our businesses back. And that combination of savings plus economic growth, that's how we're actually going to be able to get back to a sane place without having to touch Social Security or Medicare on the way there. And then when we get back to that Social Security surplus, yes, allow people to invest it, just as you would your normal investment account. And if we had done that 20 years ago, we would be in a great spot today. Well, we learned from our past mistakes to actually lead us to our future. And that's very pragmatically how I'm going to lead as the next president.
Okay.
But just to confirm, you're not calling for, some of the other Republicans in the race for the nomination have
Yes.
put out proposals on age, changing the age to receive Social Security or making any changes. You would not advocate for anything like that.
I don't think those are going to be necessary because we actually have lower hanging fruit that we can actually derive those savings from. So I understand they're coming from a good place. I think anybody who's serious about tackling the national debt, they have a useful contribution. But I think there are much easier places to go, starting with the federal bureaucracy itself, starting with delivering economic growth itself, something we haven't talked about. That's our way out of this problem. And part of the reason I'm not going to those solutions right away is that we're at a place where people across this country mistrust the government, and mistrust the government for good reason. The government has systematically, I think, been dishonest with people in this country. So we have to earn that trust back before we're talking about even remotely touching Medicare or Social Security benefits. And the good news is, if you're coming in with the CEO's mindset, there are other ways to significantly reduce our national debt while delivering economic growth that don't involve cutting those benefits or raising the retirement age along the way. So yes, to answer your question, I am different than the other candidates in that respect.